Hey everyone, I am back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. I hope that you have had a wonderful week here. For those of you who tune in every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here live on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. Welcome back. And thanks so much for joining here. For those of you who tune in every single Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Black Women Empowered Incorporated, Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. Welcome. And thanks so much for joining here. We are here live every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, as I mentioned. And for those of you who are watching the replay on Dr. Nikisha Hammond YouTube, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like this video, share, and subscribe. And hi again for those who are starting to join here. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Let me know where you are tuning in from today. I reside in the Tampa Bay area of Florida, but today I am in Ohio. Um, I don't even know what city I'm in, you all, or what number city I'm in. I meant over the past couple weeks have been a lot of heavy travel. So I don't know if this might be city number 10 or something like that. It's been a lot of states and a lot of cities. But nonetheless, happy to be here with each and every one of you. Again, let me know where you're tuning in from in the chat. Hopefully my chat will come in at some points. Blessings to you. I'm so happy I can see it right away. Sometimes it takes a minute for the comments to come in, but blessings to you all as well. While I'm waiting for some people, good evening from San Francisco. Welcome back. While I'm waiting for some more people to hear, I did want to remind you all, for those of you who haven't picked up a copy yet, of my brand new book that I'm super excited about, Mindset Training, Conquer Your Mind, and the Rest Will Follow. It looks like this, you all. It is now available on Amazon and a lot of other online outlets. Probably Amazon's the easiest, but it's on Barnes & Noble, Walmart.com, Booksamillion.com, and some other outlets. But be sure to grab your copy. And mindsettrainingbook.com, you can get more information about the book on that site, as well as some other ordering goodies on there, digital goodies. But again, thanks so much for starting to join here. Also, as a reminder, before I start today, starting Tuesday, October 15th, 2024, I will be going through the different chapters of the book, and those will be the mental health moment topics through the rest of the year. So it is not required by any means for you to continue to be here on Mental Health Moment to have the book, but it's a little easier follow what we're talking about for the year on Mental Health Moment. But that's just something special that I'm doing for this community. But you can invite whomever you would like. Obviously, this is available for anyone, but just something special I thought would be cool for the BWE community as well. But again, thank you so much for those of you who are joining here. Dr. here with your Mental Health Moment. So again, that date is October 15th. Throughout the rest of the year, we'll be going through the book. Let's see, other announcements. Yes, I think that's the main announcement for today. So for those of you in a mental health moment, essentially mental health moment is about how do you become a better version of who you are so you can show up powerfully for yourself and for the people around you. I'm very big on self-care, which is what the book is about, holistic self-care, and how do we grow into being better individuals, again, for yourself, but also for your community and for your friends and your family and everyone around you. So speaking of growing into a better individual, this week's mental health moment, I wanted to remind you all, I know we talk a lot, and again, let me know where you're tuning in the comments, and hopefully I will be able to see the comments. So comments here, which I not, but it trickles in. It just does what it does because it's technology. Nonetheless, so I talk a lot on mental health moment about how we need to be checking in with ourselves, right? Very important to be asking yourself, how are you doing? So asking yourself, how am I doing, right? And along with, yes, checking in with everyone else, making sure that you are checking in with your mental health and your wellness, and really asking yourself and being honest with yourself of where you're at in your journey. Arlington, Texas is in the house. Welcome. Thanks so much for joining here. So one of the things that I I've been learning about recently when it comes to mental wellness. It's something called, and maybe you've heard of it, but it's something called micro journaling. So a lot of times when people think of journaling, you may think of having to write this long, drawn out explanation, or what you did in that day, or what's going on, or your feelings, and pour your heart out, which you can if that works for you. But there's also something called microjournaling, and microjournaling is literally how it sounds. It's taking the moments to work on releasing your stress through the form of journaling, but it might just be a sentence. It might just be one word, right? So let's say you're having a moment, you're having a day, and this exercise is not for everyone, but again, each week I'm teaching you different things. So some of the things you may be like, yep, I want to do that, Dr. Kim, and I want to try that this week. And then some of them you'd be like, yeah, that was not for me. So that's why I give you different possibilities, of course. But good evening from Boston. Welcome back. Thanks so much for joining here. But essentially what you do, let's say you had a day where you're like, okay, how am I feeling? Right? You can jot down something quickly. If you're a digital person and you want to do it in your phone, in the notes, or there's plenty of apps for it as well. Or if maybe you like to write things down physically in a journal, you can write like stressed out, right? Or you can write really happy, or having a great day, or whatever it is that you need to express. But it's literally, like I mentioned, it could take you like a minute to do it. Or if you wanted to take the time to do a full journal entry that may take 5 to 10 minutes, of course you can do that too. But this today, what we're talking about is something called micro journaling, right? So, and it's something for you to work on. How do you release the stress that is happening in your life? Or how do you check in with yourself? It's not always bad stress. Stress is not always bad, right? There's a lot of great things that happen to us too, but that can be stressful. So maybe if you have a new child, or you have a new grandchild, or you have a new move, or you have a new job, or you have something that is considered positive, but it's still stressful, right, to go through it. So all those sorts of things, it's important for you to, again, think about releasing. How do you write it down? How do you do micro journaling, for example? So the other day, last weekend, that was a couple days ago, I was trying to catch a flight, right? I was trying to catch a flight from, anyways, I need to fly out of New York City, which, by the way, you all, I just realized that yes, in my entire life, I had never driven in New York City. I had been to New York City, but I had never driven there. So I've driven in New York, but like the outer parts of New York, which is not the city. So when I did the GPS, when I did the maps to see how far I was in New Jersey for an event this past weekend, and I said, okay, how far is it to get to the airport in New York City? And it was like an hour. I'm like, no big deal, right? An hour. Gave myself a little bit more time because I live in Florida in the Tampa area. And when I have to give myself extra time, we're talking about maybe an extra 20, maybe 25 minutes, like just a little window of extra time, right? If there's a quick accident, 15-minute delay, you get to where you're going. You all, it took 2 hours, 2 hours for that drive. And I experienced more than I've ever experienced in my life in New York City trying to get to LaGuardia Airport. I was unaware of that. It was extremely frustrating in the car. And frankly, I was nervous because I really needed to catch. Good evening from South Carolina. Welcome. I really needed to catch this flight. It was the last flight of the night. Right. And excuse me, I'm sharing this with you because, and I'll tell you the rest of the story in a minute, but if I had micro journaled in that moment, and by the way, micro journaling, for those of you who are more auditory and want to do like a quick, even if it's an audio note, I've done that before, audio notes of just quick things that are happening just to release it. That's still considered micro journaling as well. So if you even had, again, for those of you who like audio notes and you said, man, I'm really stressed out right now, a lot is going on. That is of releasing the stress. Things are there's other things you need to do to process it. Again, working on how do you release this type of stress. So anyhow, so it took me 2 hours. So I drove again from New Jersey to LaGuardia. First of all, excuse me. First of all, New Jersey uh, is one of the places that I found extremely confusing. So I was in my rental car. I got lost so often because I just didn't understand the roads there. I don't know what it is, but I don't know. There's certain places for me. I've traveled to a lot of places in the country, and there's just certain places that are really confusing. New Jersey was one of them, as I found this past weekend. So nonetheless, as I'm driving and I'm recognizing, because when I originally left, it said it was like an hour and 20 minutes. I said, okay, no big deal. But as I started to drive, there was so much traffic. It wasn't that far away. It was like maybe 20 something miles. It took me 2 hours to get there just because there was so much bumper to bumper. I had to constantly stop. I was constantly going 5 miles an hour, it felt like, for almost the whole trip. And so I get to the New York City area. By the way, it was beautiful though. At night, it was very beautiful. I was like, okay, let me try. And this is what I did, you all. I was like, let me try, because I knew there was a high possibility I was going to miss this flight. But I was like, let me just try in this very stressful time for me to try to get to this airport to look at the view. And I really did this because New York City, well, I don't even, I can't, I think it's George Washington Bridge, whatever, wherever bridge I was at. It was a really beautiful scenery there. And I'm like, okay, let me take some deep breaths because I don't know whether or not I'm going to catch this flight right now. But let me just take a minute to absorb that and look at this beautiful scenery of New York City, right? Excuse me, you all. And so I did that. And as I got closer to the city, what happened was I got very nervous because I'm like, I'm so close to missing this flight that if I make any wrong turns, that's it. Like I kept looking at the GPS because the time just kept going up and up and up. And so I get to the airport, you all, and I'm driving to the airport, and I'm like looking for the rental car center sign, which I thought I saw. Somehow, some way, I got lost, you all, and I was like, oh my gosh. So then I'm like, okay, I don't even know if I can catch the flight at this point. Long story short, I eventually made it to the rental car center, returned the rental car, ran out the rental car. I was like, okay, just email me the receipt. I ran to the shuttle, the nicest shuttle, thank goodness. And he's like, looks like you're in a rush. So I'm like, I really have to check this bag. And I really have to get this airport. So he's like, don't worry, I got you. And probably was speeding when he shouldn't have been speeding. Nonetheless, got to the airport. And I remember I get there. It's less than an hour to the flight, by the way. This is LaGuardia, which is like a huge airport. And I get to the front, and the guy, when I'm trying to check my luggage, he's like, okay, I don't know. He's like, I will check it, but it's considered a late check. So you may or may not get your bags when you get there. And if you don't get it, we can't send it to you because you checked the bag late. And I'm like, listen, I'm just trying to catch this flight right now. I know I can run and catch this flight. So can you please just check the bag? Right? And he did. He checked the bag. And long story short, I did, by the grace of God, end up making that flight, you all. But it was extremely stressful throughout the time period. And also I did end up getting my luggage, which would have been not good if I didn't, because when I landed, I had to travel another 2 hours to where I was going. So if I didn't get my luggage, it would not have been fun. Anyways, I had to go somewhere, be somewhere at 8 a.m. the next morning, and then to come back 2 hours, right, to get my luggage. Like that would have been a mess. Nonetheless, I got my luggage also by the grace of God. But I share this story with you because it was honestly very nerve wracking because I'm sitting there like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to catch this flight. I needed to be somewhere at 8 a.m. and it was the last flight of the night. So it was extremely important that I caught that flight. But nonetheless, trying during that time period to check in with myself, which I did. I'm like, okay, stress level very high. But I was like, let me try to control my breathing right now because I was in a state of panic to get to this flight. I was like, let me try to control my breathing. Again, I was looking out my window at this like beautiful New York City, just the buildings and all of the things, like gorgeous. And it was at night, very pretty on this bridge. And doing the types of things to try to get myself into a calmer place. But another thing I could have done, which I didn't do at that time, is I was driving, so I wasn't obviously going to write anything down, but I could have gotten on my phone and did like I said, an audio note of how I was feeling to go through, like, okay, this is really stressful, but you're going to be okay. Like, even if you miss this, like, there's other things you can do. Just trying to talk myself through that, right? And this is what I encourage you all. And good evening. Thanks for those who are still starting to join here. This is what I encourage you all to do as well. If you get to the point where, or when you get to stressful situations, it's really about your mindset and how you talk yourself through it, and how you get yourself through it through self-talk, and also through, you can also distract yourself, honestly, because I was doing that. I was trying to distract myself. I was like, let me look outside. Look how beautiful this scenery is, right? But you can distract yourself in a good way. And you can also micro journal, which is, again, just jotting down quick, even if it takes you less than a minute, quick things of how you're feeling, how are you doing. It could be, positive affirmations. I can do this. Keep going. Like, whatever it is for you that can get you through those situations. And there's no right or wrong to this practice, by the way. There's no right or wrong to this practice right away. So you can do micro journaling multiple times a day. You could do it once a week. You could do once a day, like whatever works best for you. But just know that it's really critically important for you to be doing something that is releasing your stress. Your stress can build up in your body. Your stress can build up in your brain. Your stress can lead to mental health conditions, physical health conditions, all sorts of things that you can prevent when you put these types of tools in place. So again, you can try micro journaling if this is something, maybe you're already journaling, or just something that you want to try that's new. But the most important thing, whatever you do in your mental health journey, is to make sure that you're putting tools into place to work on reducing stress. Because sometimes we can't avoid certain things. So this past weekend, right? I couldn't. Somebody said that I think the stream is freezing. Sorry about that, you all. Hopefully you can still hear me. I'm on a hotel Wi-Fi, so I'm at the mercy of the hotel Wi-Fi. Hopefully you can still hear me here. Let me know in the comments if you can still hear me. First timer here. Welcome. Which my comments are also coming in slow, so that might be true. And I apologize if this is freezing a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, so let me know if you can still hear me in the comments. Okay, I think the comments are coming in slower. Someone said, I found journaling quite effective for realigning. Absolutely. And it just allows you to have a time where you can express yourself. There's a lot of ways to express yourself. You may have a good friend you can express yourself to, or a therapist, or family member, whomever it is, or not. Like, some days you may just need to express yourself, get things out, and it's not for someone else to hear, or it's not for someone else to know, which is fine. But just be honest with yourself. Okay, good. Someone says yes, I can. Good. So that's my tip for this week, is for you to really think about micro journaling, right? And just to think about, how do you get out the stress? How do you be honest with yourself and say to yourself, hey, I'm stressed, or hey, I'm having a great day, or just be more in tune with how you're feeling and what your emotions are like. There's something called mood tracking journals as well, where you can sort of track your mood. That's a little bit more, I would say, advanced, but there's plenty of apps out there if you need to go the app route. But sometimes it just takes a pen and a paper, or it just takes your phone or computer, or however, if you want it to be digital or if you want it to be on paper. But it's very important. Again, just another tool for you to think about, how do I release the stress? How do I recognize what's happening here? I see the hearts. Thank you. Okay, so as I wrap up today's mental health moment, again, want to remind you, for those of you who tuned in a little bit late, starting Tuesday, October 15th, right here, Black Women Empowered Incorporated, I will be talking more about the book Mindset Training, Conquer Your Mind, and the rest will follow. The rest of the topics for the rest of the year will be related to the book. So I'll be going through the book, not reading the book, but just going through the different sections and giving you guys just more information related to the book. So again, you can grab your copy. The easiest way is probably Amazon. Mindset Training, Conquer Your Mind, and the rest will follow. You can go to Mindset Training Book, which also has all the different places where you can order the book from and some goodies if you want to go that route. Not required, like I said, but kind of helpful if you're the type that likes to highlight. I know I do. In books and just kind of jot down, underline, take some notes. So that is that. And I will see you guys next week, next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here live on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. Have an amazing rest of your week, and I'll see you next week, you guys. Bye, guys.